Hello everyone, welcome to Classic Recaps. Wolves 2014 is a gripping tale of self-discovery and transformation. A young man discovers he is a werewolf and sets out on a quest to uncover his true identity. Along the way, he encounters a mysterious town filled with ancient secrets, formidable enemies, and unexpected allies. Stay till the end for the surprising plot twist. The movie opens in a college where a football match is taking place. During the game, Caden manages to score a touchdown for his team, causing the crowd to cheer for him. Seeing this, a player from the opposing team, Brad, attacks Caden. The attack catches Caden off guard. He falls to the ground and his nose starts bleeding. Caden becomes furious and immediately gets up from the ground. He attacks Brad, knocking him to the ground, and begins punching him, while everyone in the crowd watches in horror. That evening, Caden sits in the car with his girlfriend Lisa. The two of them are talking, and Caden confesses to her that he has been feeling lost lately. Lisa comforts him and tells him that he has nothing to worry about. The two of them begin making out. That night, the full moon comes out, and suddenly, Caden begins to feel strange. His bones start snapping, and he transforms into a werewolf. He quickly loses control and tries to attack Lisa. Scared, she narrowly manages to escape the attack. However, before he can chase her, Caden blacks out. A few hours later, Caden wakes up and finds himself back in his house. Still disoriented, he stands up and notices blood on his clothes and body. He moves around the house and begins searching for his parents when he stumbles upon their bodies in their living room. He discovers that he had taken his parents' life while he was in his wolf form. Caden begins to feel overwhelmed and once again turns into a werewolf. Outside, he notices that Lisa had arrived at his house with police officers. Not wanting to harm more people, he uses the back door and manages to escape. As the police break down the front door, they discover the dead bodies and quickly send out an alert that a killer is on the loose, and he has killed his parents. The police launch a search for Caden, but he remains hidden. After a few hours in hiding, he goes into a cafe while keeping a low profile. He notices his friends giving interviews on the TV about him. He finds out that he had been adopted, a fact that he had no clue about. He leaves the cafe and begins walking aimlessly when he comes across two men harassing a woman. The woman calls out to him and asks for his help. Caden tells the men to let the girl go, but when they ignore his warning and tell him to leave, he turns into his wolf form and savagely attacks the men. Seeing this, the woman flees from the scene, scared that he might kill her as well. Later, Caden steals a bike and ends up going to a bar. There, a man named Joe approached him. Joe shows him his fangs and tells him that he is a werewolf as well. Finding that he is not the only werewolf around, Caden asks Joe about himself. Joe tells him that he's a pure-blood werewolf, meaning that he was born as a werewolf. Then Caden tells him that he is not able to control himself. Joe replies that this is something his parents should have taught him. Caden informs him that he had only recently discovered that he was adopted and that he was raised by humans. He then asks Joe where he can find more werewolves, but Joe does not answer him. Before he leaves, Joe picks up a dart and throws it behind Caden. Caden discovers the dart had landed on a town on the map on the wall. He takes his bike and makes his way to the town. When he reaches there, he goes into another bar. As he sits down, he notices everyone staring at him. A woman comes up to Caden and begins flirting with him. When he turns her down, he catches the attention of the bar's owner, Angelina. She asks Caden what he is doing in their town late at night. Caden tells her that he is looking for work. Just then, a man comes up to him and accuses him of hitting on his girlfriend. He tries denying the accusation, but when he sees other men getting up to corner him, he tells them that he is leaving. He leaves the bar but hides in the trees, waiting for the man to leave the bar as well. When the man comes out a few hours later, Caden ambushes him and threatens him until he runs away. Then, another man named John, who had been watching the scene unfold, calls Caden out and offers him a job at his farm. He introduces him to his wife, and Caden begins working for them. The work goes by smoothly, but one morning the town's thug, Connor, approaches Caden and confronts him about threatening one of his men. Before Caden can defend himself, John comes out of the barn and tells Connor to forgive him and that Caden is his nephew, which is why he took him in. The next day, Caden wakes up to find one of the farm pigs dead in what looked like an attack by a wolf. John tells him that it must have been Connor's doing. Later that evening, Caden, John, and his wife were watching the news when the news about Caden killing his parents is aired. He immediately turns the TV off and tells the two of them that he is going out. He decides to head back to the bar, but before he can go in, he is stopped by a man named Carter who warns him and tells him that he needs to leave the town because Connor is dangerous and he sees Caden as a threat. When Carter notices Connor watching them, he quickly leaves. However, he does not get far and is caught by Connor's men. They take him to Connor, who asks him what he told Caden. Carter tries to tell him that he did not give anything away to Caden, but Connor does not believe him and tells him to run so that he can chase him and get rid of him. Meanwhile, Caden leaves the bar after talking to Angelina and heads home. As he is passing by the forest, he hears loud cheering and howls. He gets off his bike and goes into the forest to explore. Suddenly, Angelina calls out to him and tells him that she smelled something strange, which is why she came to check what was going on. Sure enough, Caden smells blood in the air. The two of them go deeper into the forest to explore and find that Connor and his men had mutilated Carter's body and were eating him. Traumatized, Caden returns to the farm. But when he enters, he finds that John and his wife had seen the news about him killing his parents. John's wife hugs a confused Caden and tells him that they will explain everything to him. John tells him that he was related to Caden's birth mother. Connor had fallen in love with her and asked her to marry him. When she refused, Connor kidnapped her and kept her with him until she fell pregnant. When his mother's father found out, he threatened to kill her. This is when John and his wife decided to hide her and told everyone that she had died. Soon enough, his mother gave birth to him, but right after his birth, she took her own life and Caden was put up for adoption so that Connor would never find out. He then tells him that after her death, Connor became more violent and began killing people. He then turned half of the townspeople into werewolves, however, they were nothing in front of purebred werewolves. To control his bloodlust, Angelina had offered herself to Connor and had agreed to have a child with him, since she was one of the last pureblood werewolves alive. The next day, Caden tells Angelina that he thinks turning into a werewolf is a curse. He tells her to stay away from him in case he loses control and kills her like he killed his parents. Angelina tells him that his power can be a blessing if he learns how to control himself. The two of them then head to the barn, where Angelina kisses Caden. Things begin to get heated, but Caden tells her to slow down, or he will lose control. However, she is not worried, and the two of them end up copulating in their wolf forms. That night, when Angelina and Caden returned home, John had gathered the remaining pureblood werewolves at his house. John introduces them to Caden, but they are not pleased with his presence, and they tell him that he has aggravated Connor. They insist that they should give Angelina to Connor, like they had originally planned, so that she can give him a pureblood son. Caden does not like this plan and tells them that he's going to face Connor alone and make sure that he stops terrorizing everyone. He heads to Connor's hideout and reveals he is his son. Connor does not believe him and tells him that he's going to give him the same warning he gives everyone, and that is to run before he can catch him. Caden does not back down, and Connor sends his men after him. Although Caden manages to reach the forest, Connor catches up to him. Hearing the commotion, Angeline wants to help, but John holds her back and tells her that he needs to do this alone. Meanwhile, Caden manages to claw at Connor and free himself from his grip. He begins running once again and reaches a dead-end cliff. Finding himself surrounded by Connor's men, and with no choice left, Connor jumps off the cliff and falls to the ground, severely injuring himself. He then loses consciousness, but before everything goes dark, he sees Joe telling him to get up and fight. When Caden wakes up the next day, he finds Angelina and John tending to his injuries. They tell him to transform into a wolf so that he can heal faster. Not being able to transform on his own, Angelina kisses him and helps him turn into his wolf form. It helps him heal faster, and once he is completely healed, he immediately comes up with a plan to take Connor and his men down. He uses John's formula to make explosives and plant mines all around the farm. Suddenly, he hears Angelina scream from inside the house. He rushes over and finds that Connor had taken Angelina, John, and his wife hostage. At night, Connor prepares Angelina for a ceremony and tells his men to stay on guard and keep a lookout for Caden. At that moment, Caden sneaks into the field and begins killing Connor's men one by one. He takes them down and then attacks Connor. Angelina manages to free herself as well, and helps free John and his wife, who are being kept locked in a cage. All of them then rush back to the farm and take their positions, where they wait for Connor and his army to arrive. When Connor arrives, some of his men step on the mines. Killing many, Connor manages to survive. Caden then attacks Connor, and a furious battle between the two of them ensues. When Caden finally manages to pin Connor down, John prepares to shoot him from the bar. However, Caden stops him and tells Connor that he deserves to die for all the innocent lives he took. He hesitates and asks Connor to explain why he committed such atrocious crimes. Connor tells him that he will die, but that he and his mother loved each other. When she fell pregnant, her father became furious and threatened to kill her. He then took the blame to protect her so that her father could resent him, but not his daughter. When they went into hiding, he was told that she had died before she could give birth to their son. Suddenly, they hear a man laughing. Caden finds Joe standing in the field across from them. He tells Caden that he had orchestrated the whole situation. He had killed his parents so that he would go looking for answers, and that would lead him to finding Connor. It turns out that Connor had banished Joe from the town, and he wanted to get his revenge. Connor attacks Joe and tries to fight him, but because he is injured, Joe manages to get the upper hand and slits his throat, killing him. Caden is unable to fight Joe as well due to his injuries, but he lures him towards a mine. When Joe steps on it, the mine goes off and kills him. The next morning, Caden informs John that he is planning on going back to the city. John hands him a piece of paper with their family history and tells him that he should use it in case he ever needs help. The movie ends with Caden and Angelina leaving the town together and heading toward the city, leaving the pure-blood werewolves and their town behind. Wolves, 2014, is a refreshing addition to the werewolf genre, combining thrilling action sequences, captivating characters, and a unique exploration of self-discovery. While not without its imperfections, Wolves manages to maintain an entertaining and fast-paced narrative. Fans of the genre will find it an enjoyable watch. What do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like my videos, please like and subscribe for more. Until next time, take care.